Fantasy freaks and geeks, what's going on? James Koh here with you. 15 to 20 minutes is all I need to walk you through this crazy world of fantasy football. All right, as we approach here on this Tuesday, you know what time it is. It is now time to talk about the waiver wire and who should you pick up to help you towards this playoff push, if that's where you're going, or shoot, maybe you're just trying to survive. I don't know, man. We're going to week number 9, but let's get right into it. And of course, we're going to start with the Cleveland boys. I mean, damn near everyone predicted this outcome, to be honest with you. So I really can't even take a victory lap, even though your boy, the Sleeper King, did tell you that this might happen, that Jameis Winston, Cedric Tillman, Elijah Moore, these guys can play, and that they're going to produce in fantasy football. And that's exactly what they did here in week number 8. Jameis Winston was, pristine. It was pristine. We're talking about 3 touchdown performance for Jameis Winston going up against Baltimore, picking up a clutch win. It was great. It was awesome. And Jameis did exactly what we thought he would do, which is elevate his teammates as well. Cedric Tillman, Elijah Moore, David Njoku, my God, all these guys, they all came up because why? Jameis Winston is an under center pocket passer playing with Kevin Stefanski. Kevin Stefanski has done this before 2 years in a row, all of it sans Deshaun Watson. If people are wondering why this can't work with Deshaun Watson, it's like, oh, why can Kevin Stefanski do this with these random quarterbacks, but they can't do it with Deshaun? It's because the front office doesn't understand. The front office doesn't understand. You can't have a shotgun-only quarterback in a under-center, outside zone stretch, run scheme, offensive system that Stefanski runs. They brought in Ken Dorsey thinking, okay, maybe we can make this work. Maybe we can kind of Frankenstein this offense and make that work. And obviously it didn't work because, shoot, man, Deshaun Watson he just don't got it no more, man. He just don't got it no more. Anyways, here we are. Jameis Winston. Should you pick this man up? Absolutely. Obviously. Again, this is not a new story. We saw this last year with Joe Flacco. And you can make all the jokes you want about the crab legs and the eating the W's and all that kind of stuff. But the bottom line is this. We've already seen Jameis Winston play at a high statistical level. And again, emphasis on the statistical level. We haven't seen him play at a high, just, regular football level. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe a different, I'm not being fair. At different points, we have seen him play at a high level in regular football as well. But statistically, oh man, this guy's always putting it in statistically. 334 through the air, 3 touchdowns against Baltimore. They play the Chargers next week. Cedric Tillman, absolutely worth an add. As a matter of fact, he might be my number 1 waiver priority this week. Okay, we're talking about 9 targets, 7 grabs, 99 yards, and 2 touchdowns. The 2 touchdowns is obviously a fluke. And hell, you know what? To be honest with you, that catch percentage and the yardage, that might be a fluke as well. I like Tillman. I think he's a good player. Obviously, he plays X. And when you're talking about fantasy football, you want guys that get air yards. This is that guy. This is absolutely that guy. Okay, and then Elijah Moore, I'm pretty high on as well. I've been high on Elijah Moore since, his collegiate days, bro. I was stumping hard for Green Bay at the time to go draft this dude. They obviously did not. They went with a different slot receiver, and that obviously did not work out well, but we're not here to revisit the past, okay? Elijah Moore can play. Let me tell you something. Elijah Moore can play, all right? And so he's going to be able to get open, and again, Jerry Jeudy too is, he's the wide receiver 3 on that team. Honestly, if I had to do the pecking order, it's Cedric Tillman, Elijah Moore, and then Jerry Jeudy. So yeah, Cedric Tillman, absolutely worth an add. He's 19% rostered. Maybe he's already gone in most of the leagues that are competitive in 12-team or deeper leagues. But shoot, Elijah Moore's out there, guys. Elijah Moore is out there. 12 targets, 8 grabs, 85 yards in week number 8. He led the team in targets and receptions. I don't think that is going to be that fluky. Is he always going to do that? No, of course not. But I'm just saying he will be at or near the top of the target and routes run and receptions and all those kind of things. Because I tell you what, of all the guys that play in Cleveland, this guy is the most natural and sharpest route runner and the most natural separator, whether we're talking against man or zone coverage. So Elijah Moore, 2% rostered right now. That number's got to go way up. That number needs to go way up, and it will go way up. So Cedric, I would prioritize Cedric Tillman 1. Elijah Moore is right there with him, maybe at number 2 or 3, just depending on what else is out there on the waiver wire. But let me just say this. Now, you could go to the website, sleeperkingfootball.com, to get all my fab recommendations. So I won't talk about it here on this podcast, but if you want to go to the website, you can check it out there. But I would just say, if you're doing fab, I really wouldn't spend gobs and gobs of money on Cedric Tillman or Elijah Moore, and certainly not Jameis Winston, because quarterback is, you could stream the position. But let me just lay out their schedule over the next 6 weeks, if you will. It's not good. They've got the Chargers. They've got a bye week. They've got the Saints. And the Saints they're gettable. Okay, but again, they can turn up every now and again, right? And shut you down. Saints are problematic. Let me just put it to you that way. Then they've got this wild stretch of Pittsburgh, Denver, and Pittsburgh. That's their next 6 weeks, guys. They've got a Chargers game, a bye week, Saints, Pittsburgh, Denver, Pittsburgh. That is a brutal stretch. I mean, just an absolutely fearsome stretch of games. And we're talking about some of the best pass defenses in the NFL. The Chargers are a problem, man. They're tough. Jesse Minter, Harbaugh, they've got these guys in tip-top shape, right? The Saints are the weakest of this bunch, and man, the Saints aren't that bad. The Saints aren't bad. Marshawn Lattimore and the boys, they're not that bad. Come on, bro. Pittsburgh, Denver, Pittsburgh, that is just an unbelievably tough stretch. Crazy tough stretch. So, again, I wouldn't go crazy on the fab, but yeah, these guys are definitely worth ads. And we'll revisit whether or not you should start them just based on your roster a little bit later, man. But yeah, again, Jameis Winston, Cedric Tillman, Elijah Moore, 100%, got to go at him. Go for it. Okay, Isaac Guerendo should probably be the first waiver wire priority, but I don't have him there for me because San Francisco is going into the bye week. And what happens after the bye week? Well, a couple of different things. One, we might see Jordan Mason back and healthy. I'm not sure. Although at this point, I don't think you can trust it. Yeah, as a matter of fact, you can't trust it, right? But the other big development is, will we potentially in week number 9 see Christian McCaffrey? I'm not sure. But this upcoming week is a bye week, so it's not as if you can play Guerendo. Then he might be in a murky situation in a split with Jordan Mason for a week. And then certainly by week number 10, CMC is anticipated to come back. I mean, as you can tell, it's getting to be very committee-ish there in the Bay Area. So I'm not sure how much we want to invest in Isaac Guerendo. You know what? This is a lot like Sean Tucker a few weeks back or a couple weeks back or whatever that was. Where, did he have a breakout game? Abso-freaking-lutely. And by the way, Guerendo looked fantastic. He looked awesome. He did. He just looked flat out good. Again, not too many humans roaming planet Earth with his size and speed combination. 220 plus pounds, running in the low 4.3s. There ain't too many humans doing that, bro. They're just not, okay? That being said, it could be a little committee-ish there in San Francisco. I mean, shoot, I don't know. Jordan Mason, obviously, with his shoulder injuries, and it's just such a, man, I know he started out gangbusters. First 4 games, he was unbelievable. Maybe, fantasy MVP. Last 4 weeks, he's absolutely crushed teams. So Guerendo, I would imagine, maybe works into that week number 9, works into that rotation, or maybe, I don't know. Maybe he's the lead. Maybe he's the lead there in week number 9. I could see that too. Okay, but then what happens in week number 10 when CMC comes back? I'm not sure. Of that, I am not sure. All right, if you want a quarterback streamer, I really like Bo Nix. I think you should spend a couple bucks to go get the services of Bo Nix, right? 284 and 3 touchdowns last week. Really good game. Really efficient game. Now, granted, it was against Carolina. I get it. Okay. But that being said, he does play Baltimore this upcoming week. Baltimore that just gave up 334 passing yards to Jameis Winston and 3 touchdowns as well. Right? So this is a secondary that you can pick on. And teams have been picking on him. So yeah, Bo Nix absolutely in the streaming conversation here. He's 25% rostered as of record today. And he will be a semi-popular ad, especially for those folks who need a streamer. Jameis Winston will be the first quarterback off the board, off the waiver wire. So there's a good chance if Bo Nix is available in your league that you will acquire his services if you want it. And I'm here to tell you, the last month, it's been a completely different ball game, right? I mean, this is a guy that has scored, I believe he has scored 20 plus fantasy points in 3 of his last 4 weeks, if I am not mistaken. I'm going to go look this up now. Bo Nix over his last, he scored 20 plus fantasy points in 3 of his last 4 games. That's pretty good. That's really good, as a matter of fact. So he is slowly but surely picking up this Sean Payton offense. And yeah, was it a great matchup against Carolina? Sure. But guys, it's still a great matchup against Baltimore. So again, I like Bo Nix this week. He could crash out, but man, I don't know. I think he's at least worth an ad. And if you're streaming at the position, he is going to be one of the more popular streamers this upcoming week. All right, let me talk to you about a deep sleeper. And when we talk about deep sleepers, of course, we have to play Who the Fuck? If these other guys are a little too mainstream, I get it. I understand. Okay. I play in some of these deep leagues too. All right. 14 teamers, baby. Let's go. All right. Hyper competitive, deep rosters. Let's go. I love it. Okay. Let's go. Let's talk about Jalen Coker first. Okay. I know I talked about Jalen Coker I believe at some point last week, he was on a deep sleeper list. Okay. But Jalen Coker, 0% rostered. He will be a popular ad. I don't want to say, I mean, look, he's going to be an ad. I don't know about popular, but he'll be an ad. No one knows about Jalen Coker because, dude, this guy played at Holy Cross, right? He's 6'1", 210 pounds. He's got an interesting athletic profile. He ran in the high 4.5s, which is, it's not great, okay? But it's also not the worst number in the world. The number that jumped out to me, though, 42.5-inch vertical. Hello. That's rare. I mean, it's rare to see a guy over 40 inches. It's rarer to see a guy over 41 inches. I'm going to be honest with you. I actually, off the top of my dome, and if y'all know me, I love the combine, but off the top of the dome, I can't remember the last time I saw a guy with a 42.5-inch vertical. I'd have to go back and look, but I don't recall somebody with that kind of leap. At the wide receiver position, bro, that's impressive. That is impressive. So he's got the size, 6'1", 210, and he's got some very intriguing athletic traits, right? But this is what it really comes down to. Where is he playing? He's playing in the slot. He's played 75% of his snaps out of the slot, although his touchdown last week came while lined up out wide. He was on the right side of the football field, and Bryce Young hit him with a nice low back shoulder throw to get him into the end zone. That was a lot less Coker and a lot more Bryce Young. Listen, give credit where credit is due, because that was a nice ball from Bryce Young to get Jalen Coker into the end zone. But that being said, I think his primary role will be that as of a slot receiver. And our guy Matt Harmon did some charting on Jalen Coker, and it looks pretty good. Right? 69.6% success rate versus man. That is rock solid. 81.1% success rate versus zone. Oh, chef's kiss. Again, it's not the highest number in the world, but clearly passes the benchmark, the bare minimum benchmark of 80% success rate versus zone. And what did I say before? The benchmark for man coverage is 70% success rate versus zone. He's almost there at 69.6%. So this guy, even though he is a bigger slot receiver, I think he checks those boxes. So remember what Steve Smith said. Steve Smith, the former Panthers All-Pro, loves this guy too. Compared him to Tim Duncan with that leaping ability, his ability to box guys out, win the football in contested catch. Loves him. Steve Smith loves this guy. So again, when Steve Smith and Matt Harmon like a guy, you best go out there and like that guy. I'm not going to try to outsmart these two gentlemen. Let me tell you, at the wide receiver position, nah, we ain't doing that. Okay. Jalen Coker, worth a pickup. 100% worth a pickup. All right. As of this recording Monday night, we don't have word yet on Stephon Diggs. There is concern, obviously, that he tore his ACL, if not another, significant major knee injury. Again, we don't fully know the extent of his injury, but it sounds like he's going to be on the shelf for a bit. Okay, if not the entire season. If that is the case, and obviously Nico Collins is on IR, I believe he's on IR through week 10, eligible to come back either week 10 or week 11. Honestly, I'm not going to look that up right now. But the bottom line is this. When we're talking about the waiver wire, I do think that Xavier Hutchinson is worth an ad. He's an interesting player to me. I think he could play outside X receiver. He's got some of that versatility that you want to. He could play flanker. That's probably where he's probably the best, is probably out at flanker. But he's got some outside X chops too, right? And Houston, the Texans have certainly shown us their hand in regards to who is the next man up. That will be Xavier Hutchinson for sure, right? So now, again, we're not going to go crazy. This guy's 1% roster right now for a reason. It's going to be primarily Tank Dell. He will be the number 2 receiver. Stroud himself has certainly not played very well this season, or at least not up to the standards that we were expecting from CJ Stroud in 2024. So again, what does Xavier Hutchinson bring to the table? I don't think he's playable except in deeper formats. But the matchup has to be right. So again, we'll analyze those matchups as we go along. But certainly Xavier Hutchinson should be on your bench somewhere. In Jacksonville, Christian Kirk, broken collarbone, out for the season. Brian Thomas Jr., say it ain't so, baby. Say it ain't so. BTJ, rib and chest injury. Now, the initial thought was that he would be out somewhere between 2 to 4 weeks. The follow-up to that after the MRIs is that I think he's now day-to-day with a possibility to play week 9. Honestly, I would think that he doesn't play week 9. That's just be my thought. I don't know. Although I did say this exact same thing last week when we talked about Deebo Samuel, and Deebo Samuel went out there, less than a week after being released from the hospital with pneumonia, out there balling. Yo, that was crazy. Anyways, okay, so BTJ may be out. Christian Kirk definitely out. Where does this team go at wide receiver? They've got Gabe Davis. If he's available, I guess he's worth an ad. People are going to be a little bit more excited about Gabe Davis than I think Parker Washington, who is 0% rostered, but certainly Parker Washington is going to fill in that Christian Kirk role. He's a slot-only player out of Penn State. And again, he's a younger player. We've seen him play in spurts. I thought, he had, some moments where you're watching him and you could say to yourself, yeah, this guy is an NFL receiver, 100%. My only concern is the Jacksonville Jaguars offense is, it's just not that good. It's just not that good, man. So what do we want here? You know what I'm saying? I'm not that excited about Parker Washington. I sure as hell ain't that excited about Gabe Davis, although there's something to be said there that Gabe Davis should be leaned upon. And so we'll see if he responds. We'll see if Gabe Davis responds because certainly in week number 9, I think he's going to have a really great opportunity to show us a little something. Honestly, I think this might just end up being more Evan Ingram. I think it's going to be a little bit more Evan Ingram. Maybe we see some Parker Washington as a little bit of a chain mover too, as a slot receiver guy, possession dude. Gabe Davis is kind of like this sneaky upside pick because he's going to see some deep shots every now and again. And if he connects, it's a big fantasy day. And if he doesn't, then, well, shoot, you're left crying into your bowl of cereal, man. I don't know what to tell you. Anyways, so there you go. That's the show. That's your waiver wire list. Go check out the website, sleeperkingfootball.com. And shoot, if you haven't subscribed, my God, can you just subscribe to the podcast already? That I would very much appreciate. Anyways, we'll see you guys tomorrow, and we're going to be talking, we'll probably talk sleepers because that's what we do here on the show. Anyways, for now, I got to go. But remember, it's never too late to chase your dreams. Peace.